Okay, we're all set. Let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubio.
Present.
Councilmember Roberts.
Here.
Vice Mayor Womack. Mayor Winecoop.
Here. Anybody in the crowd want to do a prayer for us? All right, I'll do it. Thank you, Jesus, for a wonderful day, and thank you for watching over our council and our residents and making everybody think on the same page and get things done. I appreciate all your help. Amen. Okay. Let's move it forward. All right, we've got a big agenda here. I guess we can start with the ordinance, if you wouldn't mind, Anita. Ordinance 2026-04.
An ordinance of the Town of Montverde, Lake County, Florida, amending Section 5-41 in Article 2, Chapter 5 of the Montverde Code of Ordinances relating to building permits and inspections to comply with House Bill 803, providing for the calculation of building permit fees, eliminating administrative fees, providing for repeal of all conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. And Paul, do you want to explain this?
Sure, thank you, Council. So this ordinance is to comply with House Bill 803 that was signed by the governor. Our current process for issuing building permits is based off of valuations. The bill states that we can no longer use valuations. We have to use another process. So we're working on that process right now with Will Downer building inspectors, but it'll be based off of square footage. Because it is an ordinance, it does require 2 readings. So this is the first reading. The second reading will come back on the 29th, and also with a resolution that will have the new fees associated with it. The bill does take effect July 1st, so that's why we have these special meetings. Be glad to answer any other questions, or Anita, I'm sure, can answer some as well if you have any technical or legal questions.
Okay, so the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they want to change the way the tool they use to come up with an amount of tax to make you pay for a permit. So then one of the ways would be instead of price, square footage.
Correct. So on building permits, in the past, we've used the value of the structure being built, the house or whatever, or the shed or whatever along that line. So under this new one, it'll be based off of square footage instead of the value.
And that's just one way we could do it. There's other ways, is that right?
I'm sure there probably could be some other ways where you just do a set rate or a set fee, but it would be hard to get a building inspector if you didn't do it off of this, because there's usually more inspections involved with a higher dollar house or a larger square footage house. A 5,000 square foot takes a different type of inspection than a 1,500 square foot. Okay. So that's why it was based in the past off valuation, and now it'll go to square footage.
Okay. And this isn't something we thought of. This is something we have to do because the state is changing their requirements. That's
correct. If we left our current system in place, beginning July 1, we can no longer collect building permit fees.
Okay. All right. Does everybody understand that? I'll open it up to the public. Anybody would like to come up and talk about it?
Joe Morganelli. I have nothing against the actual ordinance, but I guess the question I have is Section 1660413A Florida statute requires that proposed ordinances be notified at least 10 days prior to adoption. This was not noticed 10 days prior. On June 11th, the town published notice of a town council meeting, but there was no agenda that was attached to that. Nowhere have we really stated the actual ordinance. You're supposed to actually state the ordinance. It was posted on the website through a hidden link. It's not public, but if you know where to look for it, you can find it. And that was on June 16th, which is still less than 10 days. So the question I have is, we didn't do this under current statute. So I guess what I'm asking you guys to do is to properly notice it and then bring it back to council, so table it, because at this point, you're not in compliance with Florida statutes. And I'm not going to read all my notes because I'm not going to do that. So anyway, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to answer that, Anita?
Did you need me to recite that again to the no.
No, thank you. The notice was provided to the newspaper for publication. It was scheduled to be published on June 19th to meet the 10-day minimum before you adopt it. The adoption hearing is on June 29th. I don't know if we've received the affidavit back. We have. So the newspaper confirmed that they published it in the newspaper as required by the statute.
So legally, we're fine?
Yes.
Okay. All righty, well, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Aaron Wadsworth, 17647 9th Street. So we're talking about changing it to comply with the law, which I understand, and moving to square footage. How does that then apply to things that you pull permits for?
I didn't hear you.
How does this apply to things that you pull permits for that are not
How does
based
it,
on the square footage of the home? Fences, slabs for parking structures, all of
So-
those kind of things aren't square footage of the home, so.
Correct. Those are proposed to come back as flat fees. So if you're just putting an air conditioner in, it'll be a flat fee. So those that cannot be calculated on square footage because it's not an addition or a new construction will have flat fees proposed for those.
Okay, and are we also adopting the requirements for projects under $7,500 value to not have a fee at all?
Correct. The fee schedule will lay that out.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
oh, you're welcome.
I
All right.
read something somewhere, and I can't recall now exactly where it is, that there was the possibility of a fee structure based on the cost of the project as opposed to square footage. Is there any truth or relevance to that?
So it's too similar to
Currently.
valuation of the project or valuation of the improvement, and we're not allowed to do that any longer. So that's why we're
That's where our
proposing
change is
these
coming.
changes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else like to talk to the council about this? All righty, we'll bring it back to council. Anybody have something they want to discuss on this topic? If not, I need a motion, one way or the other.
I was ready to go last. Town attorney, can you briefly go over, I guess, the specifics as to the language of what's going to be categorized from the bill? Like the 7,500, like what does it say in regards to that?
So for a local government issuing building permits, you have to exempt the owner of a single-family dwelling or the owner's contractor from the requirement to obtain a building permit to perform work valued at less than $7,500 on the owner's property. And it does not apply to certain improvements. So if the property is in a flood zone or a flood hazard area, then that exemption does not apply. If it's electrical, plumbing, structural, mechanical, or gas work performed on a single-family dwelling, you can't divide the property or the project up into different segments just to evade the 7,500 minimum. And to qualify, the owner or the owner's contractor must submit a written request for the exemption to the town with a copy of the contract or other documentation demonstrating the nature and the value of the work to be performed. A local government has no legal duty to the owner, the contractor, or their assigns or successors for any exempt work.
From a liability standpoint, obviously since it doesn't technically have to go through the town and doesn't really have to get permitted for those items under 7,500, if there's like a liability issue of some sort, I assume the town wouldn't essentially get hit for that, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now there's a specific wording in there, private provider. Can you explain that?
So owners have the ability to choose to use a private provider for either plan review or for building inspection services, or they can choose them to do both for them. And in that case, then the town is required to discount the building permit fee by a percentage.
And the way it's done now, the town is essentially the one that reviews those, or?
Correct. We do have private provider in the statute currently, but this is really giving us more of a mandate that we have to reduce the fees.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rubio, just so you know, the last 100-something homes at Willow Ridge were inspected by private providers and not the town, and they still chose to pay for the town's inspections, even though a private provider did them, so we ended up not doing them. Under this scenario, that fee will now be discounted.
So I guess the things that are in progress now, how are those things going to be affected in regards to the inspection fees and any other fees that I guess are supposed to come about? Are they going to automatically be grandfathered in, or?
So the statute goes into effect for building permits that are paid for and received July 1st and thereafter. So there have been some maybe that people ask for a calculation, but they aren't actually going to pay for them or pull the permit until July 1st or after. Those will have to be recalculated.
And maybe Paul, on this one, when do we expect to have, I guess, the new cost, the new schedule fee and all that? Like, when do we expect to have it public, I guess?
Sure. So you will approve it by resolution at the meeting on the 29th, along with the second reading of this ordinance. So we'll have it to you the week before. So it should be coming this week, actually. We should have it to you.
Okay.
And I know Nita's been working with Wildan on that. She might have an update on that as well.
Yeah, I spoke with Matt earlier this afternoon, and so I think Wildan's in agreement with the fees that he had sent over to you, and so that's what will be in the resolution for council's consideration.
Just curious, when was the last time that we changed the fees on any of those permit costs or inspection costs?
I believe we did it somewhere between a year and 18 months ago was the last time we did it. The International Building Council updates the fees regularly, and that's usually what the building inspectors and Wildan's use. So the fees that'll be proposed next week are the same fees that are kind of in that publication, and the same fees that Mascot is adopting and Howie's adopting, who also uses Wildan services.
Okay. Now, by any chance, do we have the building permit and inspections utilization report? Do we have such a thing for the town?
A utilization report, I guess, explain.
It's worded in the Florida statute, building permit and inspection utilization report. That's how it's written in there. I believe when I looked at Claremont's, it shows essentially what the town, in regards to numbers, like what they did in regards to permit costs and things like that for the year. It's usually done right after a financial audit.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I know our auditor goes through to make sure that we meet the compliance of the state, because you only can collect so much over what your costs are. I'll have to look at that.
And the reason why
I'm sure
I bring
we
that
have
up,
it.
it's just not to delay this process. Obviously, we're in a time crunch. Florida statute 553.80, and there's a section towards the end where it states on there that before any local government changes the schedule fees for permits and inspections, they must update and post that report first. And it's supposed to be done on a yearly basis. And I looked up the other towns, and they were fairly easy to find. I looked in our website, and I couldn't find any of these. So we haven't done it. We haven't been in compliance since, I believe, 2020. And I would, I guess, strongly urge that we have at least one done for the next reading on this, because, I mean, it's Florida statute does state on there. So
Sure, I'll definitely look into that.
Now, in regards to financial costs, do we have an idea as to what the financial impact is going to be from this?
When talking with Wildan, because they obviously make their fees off of that, it should be a wash at the end of the day, or it's going to be really close. There's going to be some things that are going to be cheaper, some things that are going to be more expensive, but not by much. It'll be very similar. So a lot of times the valuation is associated with square footage. It just depends on the types of finishes and type of homes they're doing. But similar, where if you build a 2,000 square foot home, your cost say is $200 a square foot. If you build a 3,000, it's usually 200 square foot unless you start getting into fancier stuff.
And then,
So it's just really based off, and I think that's what the International Building Council book does. It kind of keeps those costs similar, so that they're uniform across the state.
and obviously with this change, would we take a look at what those permit costs are going to be like from year to year? Like, in other words, are we going to do some sort of cost study of some sort? Because obviously this is relatively new. We don't, it's, I guess, uncharted territory, so we don't know if we're undercharging for a permit for an AC. Or is it based on the cost itself that, I guess, the town is going to incur for those, I guess, permits or inspections or manpower, I guess, to look at it? So I guess like that part of it, I'm not really quite clear as to how we're going to handle it going forward. I'm assuming that we could do, I guess, a review every year in regards to those costs to see where we're at. And maybe something.
Sure,
we could
I'll
discuss
try
in
to
the-
provide some of that information in the council packet when it goes out with the new fees in there. From a budget number, I wouldn't expect a huge change in your budget number. And so Wildan gets a percentage of those fees. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's like a 65-35, where the town retains 35% for its permitting services and oversight, and Wildan gets the 65 or some formula along that route. That's not going to change going forward. So it'll be the same amount. So it'll be a similar type of fee, I think, coming in for most houses.
If the rest of the council is okay with it, I would say if we could get something on the next reading, just to have an idea as to, I know you said it's a wash, but I like to look at numbers just so we understand, I guess, the full impact. Now, town attorney, there was something in regards to timelines in there. How are we going to address the timelines? Obviously, they pertain to inspections and permits. Is that something that, I guess, is part of this ordinance, or is it just specifically for the permit fees? And
This is only related to permit fees.
okay.
The building official and staff are aware of what the deadlines are, and they handle that internally.
For the language that we're adding to the charter, I don't have it in front of me, or maybe I do. It's very short. I assume it's broad on purpose just to give us flexibility, or would it be a better idea to input how we're going to calculate these costs and so forth? Because I know it says for the Section 2C, permit fee shall be calculated and charged by the town in a manner that complies with Florida law. It's really broad. So how are, I guess, whether it's residents that are looking to get a permit, like where do they even start, I guess?
We're required to post our fee schedules online, so it will be detailed in there. We left it broad for two reasons. One, when this was developed, we did not have a final conversation with Wildan on charges and how they were going to be calculated. So we didn't want to lock ourselves into something that we couldn't get our provider to agree to. And then also this will prevent the council from having to amend the ordinance in the future should you decide, like you said, if you review them next year and you realize square footage isn't really calculating what you need it to, and there's some other method that others have utilized that you may want to switch to.
Okay, so it gives us flexibility. Perfect. Let's see. And I think that's it. That's all I got for.
All righty, thank you. Anybody else on council? All right, if there's no other questions or answers, I need a motion one way or the other.
I make a motion that we accept ordinance 2026-04 as presented.
I got a motion to accept.
Second.
Got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. All righty. Now, let's see, the next topic we have is to announce that we're going to be discussing regarding appointment. So we're going to be moving forward with appointing somebody to our vacant seat in council, and we need to decide when how long we're going to do it. You know, we're going to give people time to bring in their resume or fill out an application, or just come to when we talk about it. And when everybody interviews, they can also interview and just do that. And what I was thinking is we announce it tonight. I think we give everybody, 10 days is plenty, isn't it? Don't you, what do you guys think? 10 days?
Sounds good.
So we give them to July 2nd, because that's a Thursday, and that would be the end of the week for us. And then we'll be talking to everybody on July 14th. So either we'll have the resume or application here that we can use, and the people that want to come and interview, they can interview. Does that sound okay?
What was the first date you said? July 7th?
3rd. We'll give everybody till July 3rd to make a notice that they want to apply for the position.
So Mayor, may I intercede on that date real quick? Town Hall will be closed July 2nd for the 4th of July holiday for the
Okay.
staff. So I would recommend Monday, July 6th, and that way, if you wanted to accept the applications, then we can have those in your packet for the meeting July 14th.
Okay, that's fine with me. Anybody disagree with that? Okay, so we give everybody till July 6th to hand in their information, and then we'll put it on the agenda for July 14th and decide on a replacement person. Is everybody okay with that, Brian?
Just so to be clear, it's going to be done pretty much exactly how it was done last year, where there's an application process, there's a deadline for that. I assume they can submit any supporting documents, and then from there, the following meeting is essentially where we get to talk to them and interview them. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, think about it. Grant, you got anything? Carol? Okay, back to you, Grant. Huh?
I said I'm good with that.
Okay. You good with it?
I'm good with it.
Okay, Brian, back to you.
the only thing I just want to put out there for council, I don't want to do a disservice to the residents. So, number one, I think we should take our time. Number two, obviously we have to do our duties by vetting whoever that is. And then would it be wise to check eligibility, I guess, right after they submit their application? Or is that done when?
Well, let Anita answer that. Would it be, do we want to check everybody's eligibility?
That's up to council. They have to submit the same paperwork you would submit for qualifying, so the oath would generally be what you get. I think they fill out the financial form 1, so we would collect that information.
But that's once they've been essentially appointed.
Correct.
Mr. Rubio, in the past, I've had staff check the eligibility ahead of the council meeting, not necessarily right when the packets went out, but we will ensure they are preliminary eligible. They have residency, lived in town for a year before the council meeting on the 14th is what we've generally done.
Okay. Can you, number one, I guess, tell us who exactly is going to be in charge of that process? And number two, what is it that they're going to confirm? I know we're saying eligibility, but it's a loose term, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, the statutes allow us to look at a few things. So Caroline, the town clerk, will be checking that, mainly just the residency and that they lived in town for a year, and I believe they have a voter registration. So whatever the statute does for, as if any of you ran for council is what we would check and nothing else. Then it's up to the council to determine all the qualifications past that.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
No problem.
So if everybody's okay with that, that's how we'll move forward with this whole process. All righty. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, nothing.
Mayor, I do got two announcements real quick for staff,
Go
if I
ahead.
could. Real quick, I wanted to let the council know over the weekend, we had a pretty good lightning strike that hit our water tower, our main pump. And so there's part of the systems that are down right now. Chuck is working on getting those repairs. He has a crew coming in tomorrow, mainly just electronics and controls and drives. So it will be obviously a pretty significant cost. However, I'm in the 85-90% range. It probably will be covered by our insurance company. So Caroline will be checking on that this week. But I do want to give heads up on that. The other system's working and they're watching water levels and making sure the tank is full. We've had no issues with that. But and then secondly, I believe only one person has signed up for the Florida League of City Conference. If any other council members want to go, please get with Caroline this week because the hotel usually fills up quickly, and that's in August.
Paul, is there one in, I guess, Central Florida? Because that one's South
This is
Florida.
the big one.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the big one. I think it's in, Caroline could jump in. I believe it's in Orlando this year. Or is it Hollywood? I forgot which. This one Hollywood or Orlando this year?
It was Orlando last year, so.
It goes back and
Okay,
forth.
so it's in Hollywood. Yeah.
Next
so
year's Orlando, and then it goes down.
they switch every other year.
Yeah.
So this will be the only one, and it'll be in Hollywood.
Okay, and then just a quick update, I guess, if we could get an update on the public records request. I know you stated that we obviously hired a secondary part-time person to help out with that. How are we looking on the records request?
I'll have to dig in a little deeper. I saw Caroline send a couple more out today. But I honestly, I don't have an answer to give you, but I can look into it and see where we're at with them. I've been seeing a few go out over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
But
I just
some
wanna make
of
sure
them
that-
we're still waiting for stuff to get dug through. Some stuff we have to have IT, some stuff has to be redacted. So that's what's taking a little bit of time on a few things.
If possible, if you could send council, I guess, just an email of the longest sitting records request, like the longest one. I'm just curious to see what the, I guess, wait times are.
Sure, be glad to do that.
Appreciate it, Paul.
No problem.
Hey, Paul, very quickly, when you mentioned the lightning strike in the water tower, would that be the reason why half of the water tower on the top, the lights are strobing?
It could be too. We'll have to look into that. Yeah, we've been looking at the controls in the water system. It actually took one of the transformers out and took a leg down on the 3-phase, and then also went through some of the backside of the drives and the controls. So we actually have some smoke and arcing going on in there. So it was a pretty close and good strike.
Well, it's very disco-esque right now, when you look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I will see if Chuck can kill the lights to that so we can get those fixed. That'll be a whole separate company, our water tower climbers that come out to do those.
And the guys came out, they finished the little crosswalk across Lakeside going over to Kirk Park. That looks good.
Yes, I saw that.
Thank you
Good.
very much for getting on that. I appreciate it.
Sorry, one last thing that occurred to me, Paul.
Yes.
In regards, I know we've had like several really bad storms in the last few days. Have we, I guess, heard anything from Mr. Stone in regards to, I guess, the flooding issue that he had?
I know he's been making some posts, and I'm going to have our engineer is going to send a response out to him. And now that we have all the stuff back and see where we're at, and recognize his driveway went down originally to the corner, and I had our engineers recently did the as-built of before and after, and all the changes we made. We basically resurfaced the road, and everything is within 100ths of where it used to be. So I'm gonna have our engineer kind of get in and give us an opinion on what, if anything, needs to be done on that, and then we can go from there.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All righty. I make a motion that we adjourn. Need a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Against, say nay. Ayes have it. There you go, 30 minutes.
Good job. Thank you, council. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Paul.